This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
3 men appearing before the courts today on separate charges. In the first matter, 21-year-old Travis Bones McPhee of Sandilands Village Road was formally charged before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt on abetment to murder. The court heard how on Monday, November 12th, here in New Providence, the accused, being concerned with another, did purposely aid and abet in murdering Statavio Lord. McPhee was not required to enter a plea and bail was denied. He was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until February 8th, 2019 for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. Meantime, 25-year-old Devin Ellis is accused of attempting to murder. It's alleged that on Friday, October 26, the accused intentionally and unlawfully attempted to kill Trevor Mackey Jr. He was not required to enter a plea. Bail was denied, and he was subsequently remanded to the Department of Corrections until February 7th next year at noon. In the third incident, 22-year-old Newton Bowe was charged with armed robbery and receiving a red Yamaha motorbike valued at $1,500, the property of Christopher Nixon. He was not required to enter a plea and was remanded until February 8th of next year. Also from the courts this evening, an American man was charged with failing to declare $11,440 in U.S. currency. 43-year-old Chicago resident Gregory Traska was arraigned before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt after authorities found him with 51,440 big ones, only declaring $40,000. The father of 3, who came to the Bahamas on vacation with his wife, children, and their babysitter, claimed he won the money while playing as a guest at the Atlantis Casino. He pleaded guilty to the crime. His attorney asked the court for leniency as her client did not waste the court's time as he came here for a family vacation and that it was a very unfortunate situation. She added that Traska was remorseful and did not intend to deceive. He had no previous convictions. The magistrate ordered that all the money be forfeited. The accused was subsequently fined $500. 4 men locked up on drugs, illegal firearm, and ammunition charges. The arrest happened Sunday after 5 p.m. when officers of the Drug Enforcement Unit were patrolling Miami Street. That's when they spotted a group of men standing near an abandoned building. The men, upon seeing the officers, began acting suspiciously. A search of the area revealed a 9mm pistol, 7 rounds of ammunition, and a quantity of suspected marijuana. There are now 3 confirmed lab cases of influenza, the most recent patient a child. That update from Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, who tells JCN News he rather stray away from the term swine flu, rather seasonal influenza.
The fact that the ones that have been tested have been H1N1, we believe that as many as 70% of the seasonal influenza cases are going to be H1N1, okay? But it doesn't change the issue because, you know, many of the strains of influenza can be serious, they can be lethal, they can be deadly.
Now, it's important to note the difference between clinical and laboratory cases.
The same way that when we talked about the Vibrio, you have clinical cases that meet the syndrome definition, right? So somebody comes in with fever and respiratory symptoms. Do they have the cold? Do they have the flu? So you may say, okay, they meet the clinical description for a flu syndrome. When you now do a viral culture and you confirm that you have influenza virus, whether it's type A or type B, then you've now confirmed with the laboratory test that your clinical suspicion is correct.
Dr. Sands says the fact that these patients have been confirmed by no means suggests they're the only 3 patients that have influenza or the H1N1 virus in the Bahamas. All it means is that they are the 3 that have had the clinical syndrome and also been tested with a test coming back positive. With 1 confirmed death this season and less than 1,000 Bahamians coming in for their annual vaccination, Dr. Sands urges Bahamians not to play games with this virus.
Bahamians should understand that flu is nothing to kid around with. If you look at the around the world, between 3 to 5 million people a year get influenza. and about 250,000 or 500,000 of them will die. Just last year in the United States, 80,000 people died from influenza. We've already had at least one death in the Bahamas from influenza. And so this is not an insignificant problem.
Now, if you find yourself with the flu, it's advised that you stay at home, wash your hands regularly, and avoid touching your nose, mouth, and eyes. The ministry provided 20,000 doses across the nation. The flu season spans October to March annually. That does it for this segment of our news. Stay with us for a check on sports and weather.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.